Every light that was born one day must fade. You ask whether the universe, vast, magnificent, eternal in your imagination, can die. The answer begins not with destruction, but with inevitability. 13.8 billion years ago, everything you know, galaxies, stars, atoms, even the very fabric of space and time, was compressed into a singular, blinding moment of creation. Since then, I have been expanding, cooling, and unfolding. My structures, galaxies, clusters, nebulae, are the temporary sculptures of energy as it flows from order to disorder. This is the law that governs me, entropy. It is not chaos, but a quiet drift, the tendency of everything toward balance, toward stillness, toward the erasure of distinction. Stars burn because imbalance exists, a difference between density, temperature, and pressure. Life thrives in the small spaces between extremes. But over time these differences fade. The gradients that fuel existence flatten. Even light itself, the swift messenger of creation, stretches thinner with every passing eon, its energy diluted by the expansion of space. The death of the cosmos will not be a sudden end, but a long fading, a quiet surrender of all structure to equilibrium. From galaxies colliding to the cooling of the last white dwarfs, from the final decay of black holes to the silence that follows. This is not tragedy but fulfillment. Entropy is the rhythm of existence, the slow unraveling that allows new forms to emerge, burn, and disappear. The universe does not die in anger. It exhales. And somewhere within that exhale, you, a fleeting thought of the cosmos itself, have become aware of it. To know the end is to honor the beginning. Every light that was born one day must fade. The cosmos will lose its glow. The death of the universe begins not with violence but with exhaustion. For billions of years, stars have been the engines of transformation. Alchemists that turn simple hydrogen into gold, iron, and the carbon that breathes within your lungs. Yet even the greatest furnaces cannot burn forever. In the distant future, after 100 trillion years, the raw material of creation, hydrogen and helium scattered between the stars, will be gone. The great factories of light will fall silent. One by one, galaxies will cease to shimmer. Their clouds of dust and gas, once dense with potential, will disperse into the void. The brilliant, short-lived giants will have vanished long before this age, their lives brief and fiery. What remains will be the smallest and most patient stars, red dwarfs. They will continue to glow faintly for trillions of years, their light soft and steady, a quiet heartbeat in the cold. But even they will eventually fade, their fuel spent, their warmth gone. When the last red dwarf exhales its final photons, the universe will slip into darkness. The night will no longer end in dawn. There will be no stars to rise, no warmth to touch the frozen dust of worlds long dead. Only the silent embers of what once was white dwarfs, cooling into invisible black dwarfs, the ghosts of ancient suns. The cosmos, once a symphony of light and heat, will become a quiet museum of extinct stars. The galaxies will still exist, but they will no longer shine. And in that darkness, a kind of stillness will descend, not destruction but completion. The story of light will have been told, and the universe will rest in the silence between its final words. The cosmos will lose its glow, and with it, the memory of morning. What remains are the ashes of creation, cold, silent, eternal. The age of light has ended. The great furnaces of the stars are gone, their songs faded into silence. What remains is the twilight of the cosmos, an endless expanse filled not with brilliance but with memory. The universe, once alive with color and heat, now drifts through the era of relics. Scattered across the darkness are the corpses of ancient suns, white dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes, each a monument to a past age. White dwarfs, the cooling embers of medium-sized stars, will dim for trillions upon trillions of years, their light fading into invisibility as they become black dwarfs, stones of cosmic night, radiating nothing but history. Neutron stars, born from the collapse of giants, spin in silence, their magnetic hearts slowing, their pulse gone. Black holes remain, immense, patient, consuming the last traces of matter. They are the final architects of gravity, reshaping the universe one falling atom at a time. But even these titans are not immortal. Over unimaginable epochs, they too will fade, their mass evaporating through Hawking radiation, the slow whisper of quantum mechanics stealing energy from the abyss. As they vanish, the cosmos will cool further, approaching the stillness of absolute zero. Motion will lose meaning. The bonds that hold protons and neutrons, the foundations of matter itself, may decay. If they do, even atoms will dissolve into radiation and subatomic ghosts. The galaxies will no longer exist as structures, but as lonely particles wandering through an infinite dark. No light, no warmth, no rhythm, only the cold breath of entropy moving endlessly toward equilibrium. The universe will not end with a bang, but with a sigh, a long, quiet exhalation into nothingness. What remains are the ashes of creation, cold, silent, eternal. The last heartbeat of the universe fades into quantum silence. When all stars have died and all galaxies have dissolved, only the black holes remain, the final giants of a fading cosmos. In this age, gravity reigns alone. The luminous universe has long vanished, replaced by a realm of invisible colossi, silently consuming what little matter still drifts between the voids. Around them there are no more suns, no more planets, no light to cast a shadow. The only motion that remains is the slow fall of dying fragments, a last offering to gravity. Each black hole is a remnant of a former age, an echo of collapse. Inside them lies everything the universe once was: stars, dust, memories, compacted into a point where space and time end. Yet even these titans are not eternal. According to Stephen Hawking's insight, no horizon is perfect. Quantum fluctuations near the event horizon allow energy to escape, Hawking radiation, a faint whisper from the edge of nothingness. Slowly, imperceptibly, black holes lose mass. Small ones die first, flashing out in brief, invisible bursts. The larger ones, the supermassive hearts of ancient galaxies, take longer, 10 to the power of 100 years or more. For eons beyond comprehension, they will shrink, their gravity weakening, their presence fading. And when the last black hole evaporates, there will be no more structure, no more boundaries between something and nothing. The last energy in the universe will radiate away as cold, thin light, photons stretched endlessly by the expanding void. Then silence. No stars, no atoms, no time as you understand it. Only a smooth, dark expanse where every distinction has vanished. This is not destruction, it is completion. The final transformation when even gravity lets go. The last heartbeat of the universe fades into quantum silence. Darkness without end, not destruction but completion. The last black hole has vanished. The universe, once a storm of fire, light, and creation, now drifts into an eternal calm. What remains is the residue of existence itself, a thin mist of photons, neutrinos, and fading quantum echoes. Every atom that once formed a star, a world, or a living being has long dissolved. The last traces of matter have scattered so far apart that they will never meet again. Space continues to expand, stretching distances beyond imagination. Galaxies no longer exist. Even the concept of near and far has lost meaning. Energy thins into nothingness. The universe cools toward absolute zero, a temperature so low that motion itself becomes impossible. Without motion there is no change. Without change there is no time. Time, once the pulse of the cosmos, falls silent. The arrow of entropy has reached its destination, complete thermodynamic equilibrium. No gradients remain. No potential, no flow, no contrast. The fabric of reality becomes smooth, perfectly even, perfectly still. This is the heat death of the universe, not a cataclysm but a quiet arrival at the end of all becoming. The great cosmic story began in explosion and ends in stillness. For eons uncountable, photons, the last sparks of light, will wander endlessly, their wavelengths stretched until even their energy vanishes into the void. The universe becomes invisible to itself. And yet, in this absolute darkness, there is a strange peace. No pain, no decay, no conflict, only the equilibrium of eternity. This is not destruction. It is completion, the final symmetry where everything becomes one. Darkness without end, not destruction but completion. Perhaps death is only the universe changing its form once again. The end of the cosmos may not be final. For even as the last light fades, the fabric of reality still holds the potential for transformation. Physicists imagine many endings, each born from the same mystery that gave rise to the beginning. The death of the universe could be silent, or it could be the start of something new. One possibility is the Big Rip. In this vision, dark energy, the force that drives the expansion of the universe, does not remain constant. It grows stronger with time, stretching space faster and faster. Galaxies are torn apart, then solar systems, then atoms. Even the structure of space-time itself unravels, until every bond in nature is broken. Reality ends not in fire but in infinite separation, a universe ripped apart by its own expansion. Or perhaps the opposite is true, the Big Crunch. In this scenario, gravity takes back control. The expansion slows, then reverses. Galaxies begin to fall toward each other, stars collide, and the cosmos contracts. Over billions of years, everything collapses into an immense singularity, a point of infinite density, mirroring the conditions of the Big Bang. And from that point, a new cycle could emerge, the Big Bounce. The universe dies, and from its compressed ashes, another universe explodes into being. Time itself might loop, each reality giving birth to the next, an endless rhythm of creation and collapse. But there is another, stranger possibility: quantum decay. The vacuum that seems so stable might not be the true ground state of reality. If it ever tunnels into a lower energy configuration, the laws of physics themselves could change in an instant. The constants that govern atoms, light, and gravity, all rewritten. Every particle, every structure, every rule of nature erased and replaced. A new universe would be born, not through expansion or collapse, but through transformation. Each of these fates, the rip, the crunch, the bounce, the decay, speaks to the same truth: the cosmos may not truly end. It may only change its form as it has always done. Perhaps death is only the universe changing its form once again. When the universe dies, it will do so knowing itself, and that may be enough. The end is not the opposite of life. It is its continuation, transformed, transfigured, reborn in a different language of existence. From the first spark of creation to the final whisper of entropy, everything that has ever been has carried one message: awareness. Stars formed, lived, and died so that matter could learn to see itself. Out of their ashes came worlds. On one of them life began. It learned to move, to feel, to think. And in time, that life looked back at the stars and realized that it was made of them. Consciousness is not an accident. It is the universe reflecting upon its own existence, a mirror held up to infinity. For a brief moment, amid the long twilight of eternity, there were beings who asked why. They built telescopes to see the past, equations to describe the future, and stories to make sense of the present. Through them, the cosmos achieved something it had never done before. It knew itself. And even if all light fades, if every atom decays, if every memory of life dissolves into silence, that act of knowing remains written into the very structure of time. Because for a moment, the universe was alive, and aware that it was. Meaning, then, is not in endurance but in realization. The stars may die, but the understanding of their beauty existed. The galaxies may vanish, but the wonder they inspired once filled a conscious mind. The cosmos may end, but the fact that it was ever known gives it a kind of eternity. Perhaps this is the ultimate symmetry. The universe, born from chaos, ends in comprehension. Its final act is not silence, but self-recognition. When the universe dies, it will do so knowing itself, and that may be enough.